Episode 13 of College Kings is here as the season has unwinded all the way down to Rivalry Week, baby. It is almost over. It's happiness and sadness. Co-host CDM, how are you feeling, man? It's almost over, bro.
Dude, it feels like college football just happened like 3 weeks ago, and now we're already at the end of the season. About to
Jeez.
after this week, we go into championship week, and then we go into bowl season, bowling, and then we go into playoff season, and then natty, and then we have to wait till August again for football. It's very sad. It's very, very saddening. Very, very sad.
Yeah.
But good things always have to come to an end for them to start again. So, can't get too down during this time. We always have to look forward to the end because it's going to be explosive. It's going to be fireworks because we don't know what's going to happen at this point.
You're damn right. That's the thing. It gets sad that it's over, but this is the best part. This is the best part of the season, and everyone loves it, especially if your team is still in it. We were just wee little heads. Episode 1, week 0. We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. Quite possibly, this could be the best college football playoff season of the 4 teams in a long time.
Oh, yeah. They could all be undefeated.
I mean, it's insane how competitive it has been this season. It's one of my favorite seasons of all time, and I'm just happy that we did College Kings for this season.
Same, dude.
Hey,
it was a perfect season to start it on. Absolutely perfect season.
Perfect. Right as we get into that 12-team playoff next year, which will be even probably more insane as we get to see some more teams in it. But of course, let's give you all a little run through what we're going to talk about here today. Obviously, we got our headlines. Got some sad news out there in Florida State with Jordan Travis with a terrible injury. We'll kind of send our prayers there, as well as Arizona Athletics. They're broke. $240 million just gone, vanished. What the heck's going on over there? We're going to see some athletics just.
Pocket change.
Oh, you think put it in the back
pocket change.
Put it in the back pocket?
I'm not going to point any fingers, but, if $240 million surprisingly just goes missing. Surprisingly, okay? And, you got homegirl over here pulling up in a new Ferrari or, a new Rolls Royce. Not gonna say anything, but keep that right there.
Insinuations.
Insinuations. Hey. Just saying.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. When she pulls up in the Rolls Royce, the Benz, people are gonna be.
Oh yeah, in the Benz, something like that.
Easy now, But we'll talk about all that, and we'll talk about Cam Rising Super Senior 7th season is returning to the
Super duper senior.
I mean, insanity. So we'll kind of give our thoughts on that decision, as well as a little bit of a season recap. There's been some great teams, bad teams, underwhelming teams, surprise teams. We'll give you all kind of our perspective on that, as well as, like I said, 12-team playoff. Some of these teams are great, but won't make the playoff this year. 12 teams, we might see some of these teams kind of slip into the cracks as we have more teams in the playoffs next season. Of course, we'll give you our recap from last week's games, insane games, big-time games, teams punching tickets to championship games. So we'll give you all our thoughts on some of those big ones around the country. And, of course, we'll close out this pod with our top 6 teams, Heisman Watch, and playoff predictions. Heisman Watch, hey, it's a 2-man race, it feels like right now.
It really does.
So, hey, those bettors, those people that vote, I'm sorry. Because you're going to piss someone off. And no matter what, there's going to be a wrong decision. It's going to probably be about 50-50, 60-40 in the entire country, depending on who wins. So I'm sorry for the people that vote on that. That's just, you're not going to get it right no matter what. So we'll give our thoughts, our expertise on that. On that beautiful race in the Heisman. And, of course, like I said, top 6 teams and playoff predictions. And then we'll close out the pod once again with our game picks. Yes, sir, CDM.
Got a lot of game picks.
Yes, we do.
Got a lot of game picks this weekend.
Hey, I said rivalry week. We can't leave out some of these big games, even though they might be blowouts. There's too many, traditional. I left out some really good games. I was just like, we can't pick all the games. So I had to leave out some of them. And there's some pretty big rivalries that we had to skip out on. But I tried to pick some of the big ones.
We had to miss out on Southern Miss's rivalry against themselves.
Yeah, we almost beat the
Bulldogs. Almost
26-20 in the fourth quarter. Who would have thought?
3-7.
Hey, I count that as a victory.
Oh my God! Stop.
It's to the top, baby. to the top. I should have wore the Southern Miss gear after that. Moral victory. Will Hall, please get fired. All right. Hey, what am I doing? I don't call for people's jobs. That's me. That's me. But
I will.
hey,
I will. I'll raise
so.
my hand right there, brother.
I will do that. All right, let's get into this thing. Let's get some of this bad news out of the way. Sad news to start the pod. You never want to see anything like this in college football, but it is the reality of the sport. It is a physical, brutal sport that we get to see, and we love for it, but sad things happen. This is one of those things. Jordan Travis out for the season, and his college football career is officially over after, I'm pretty sure, ankle break, dislocation, one of those things, leg break. It was nasty.
It was nasty.
We're not going to show it on here on the YouTube version and the video version out of respect, and like we said, it's nasty. And
I was watching it at work, and I just looked up, and next thing you know, he went down, and it's just 90 degrees, and just it's one of those gruesome. It's just one of those. It's one of those injuries that you just hate to see happen to such a good player. I mean, to somebody that's really led this Florida State team to what they were about to be, what they were about to accomplish in this season was about to be insane, because we haven't seen Florida State be this good in a while.
Yep. And
without him, this team would be nothing. Same way I say about Jaden Daniels to LSU, I say about Jordan Travis to Florida State. He's such a dynamic player, such a great player. And for an injury like that, I don't think it affects his draft stock. I obviously don't.
Okay.
Because, Hendon Hooker got hurt last year with an ACL and still got drafted in like the third round. So, I mean, I think he'll fall a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's more about the player at that point than the game. So glad he was able to cheer the team on from the hospital and, send him prayers in our safe recovery as well, especially going into the NFL where he will be playing on Sundays next year.
Yeah, man, you never want to see, like I said, and, his growth throughout the years, he kind of got written off some of those seasons when Florida State was just not a good football team. Finally has a good enough team to actually, make some noise in the ACC, and really, legitimately, they had a chance in this, this season to make a run. It wasn't unrealistic to say they could have won a championship with him, and obviously without him out there, it's those odds kind of flip. The kid behind him he's got experience. It's not like he hasn't played.
I have
ball,
no idea who he is.
Yeah, I've seen him play, but he's not the start. He's not the starter for a reason.
About to say, you did not sound confident saying that. I've seen him play.
I can't say much. His stats are not that great. The stats are not that great, but you never know, man. With that good of a team, sometimes maybe you don't have to do as much as Jordan Travis was doing. Rely on the run game, rely on that defense. You can win the ACC. You're setting yourself up still for a playoff berth. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, hate to see that. Jordan Travis was one of my favorite players all season, especially after what he did to my LSU Tigers game one. Just looked impressive, comfortable, confident. And I hate it for the draft. You think it doesn't hurt his draft stock? I hope it doesn't. These injuries are nothing to be, to snooze about, though, sadly. It's not an ACL. Yeah. This is not an Achilles. This is a injury that we have seen kind of, hinder careers. So I hope that he can come back fully 100%, even better. The Dak Prescott injury is one that comes to mind. The Gordon Hayward in the NBA, very similar. Literally.
Oh, that one's just gross.
too. Seeing those plays, I've seen him in the UFC. Conor McGregor was one where breaks his leg, and you see those nasty, just absolutely nasty injuries, and I don't have the statistics, but a lot of the time they don't come back the same, and I'm just hoping, he can come back the same. The only reason it scares me is because he does rely on his legs, and that's a big part of his game. So
it's a big part.
When it comes to NFL, I don't want to take away from, the tragedy itself, but I hope he can come back fully healthy. We see him, back at full form when he gets drafted, wherever he gets drafted. We'll see, but sending my prayers, my wishes. I hope he is hope he gets to get that full recovery sooner rather than later. All right, CDM, let's get to some just weird, wild, insane news. This did break last week. It's not new, but it feels like it has not been talked about enough in college. In just sports media in general. Arizona Athletics are broke. $240 million school-wide shortage after a significant miscalculation in their financial modeling. Cutting teams is being considered. CDM, what are your thoughts on this pure and utter stupidity, brother?
She hasn't gotten fired yet.
Oh, jeez.
Like,
Wow.
how has she not gotten fired? I don't even know her name. I saw a video on TikTok. It is a woman. I know that. And it has nothing to do with that. It just has to go with how has she not gotten fired for losing $240 million? Like school wide, bro. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just do you have her name?
Oh, I thought I did. But it was actually the president of Arizona.
I mean, it's insane to me that $240 million for the athletic program has just gone up in the air. I don't know how you lose that much money. And now you jeopardize people's jobs, people's careers. You involve the students in their education and the scholarships that they have rightfully earned to be at that university. So, I mean, for something like this to be happen, there needs to be serious repercussions for that said person. And I think firing. I mean, that's the best way. You cannot lose $240 million to a university this big, especially with the come up they're going to have in certain sports. I mean, baseball, they're pretty good. Basketball, they're good as well. Football, they're on the come up. Softball, I mean, every sport, every student athlete is going to be, sorry, every student athlete at Arizona is going to be targeted by this just because of that shortage. So I mean, I think in my opinion, serious repercussions and consequences need to happen. Because I mean, once again, once you involve the students, that's where it just kind of draws the line. I mean, you're messing with scholarships. You're messing with people who have worked their asses off to get where they're to get where they're supposed to be at this point. And teachers as well. Like there was a astrology teacher over there at Arizona that said, why hasn't she been fired? Why should we have to suffer consequences for her stupidity, for her actions? And I totally agree with that. I really feel like nobody else should face these consequences except this specific person. I mean, it makes no sense to me. And for this to happen too, I mean, once again, as I said before, wouldn't be surprised a little pocket change was submitted into somebody. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure that's way out of proportion, way out of perspective. But at the end of the day, you have to think about the students and the faculty that you really just screwed over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm trying to find her name. I think. All right, here we go. In June, the University of Arizona's chief financial officer, Lisa Rolney.
Yes, that's her. Yes,
that's her name. Okay. Yeah, she was the one that messed it up, and apparently she kind of knew about it. She kind of warned them, but it was too bad at that point. It says right here that in COVID they requested a $55 million loan, which they haven't been able to pay back since. Their budgets is usually $100 million in general. $40 million coming. $40 million. Okay, that's just the division. All right. And the thing that's actually really interesting too is that Arizona, they're not. I don't know this for a fact, but I know that they are one of the few colleges that have some of the most athletics in the country, with 23 athletic or 23 varsity teams, so 23 athletic teams. So
okay,
it's a lot apparently compared to other schools. Not a lot. All these other schools have that many, athletic, programs, and that's one of the highest in the country. So I guess you have sports you can cut. At the end of the day, though, why you got 23 programs that you can't pay for? That's the And
what are you going to do about these students who got like full-time scholarships? What are you going to do? Are you going to
hit it on the money.
Are you still going to pay them to go to school? Are you just going to take their scholarships away? And faculty as well, faculty that's been working there, are you really going to fire them because of your mistakes? No. I mean, other people should not be having to pay consequences for stupid actions like this. And I mean, kind of warned them and kind of told them, kind of doesn't roll under this one, sweetheart. Okay. If you messed up, if you screwed up big time, get off your ass, come tell us, because this is a very big situation. Yeah. This is a very big problem for a university this size, especially with the move they're about to do going into the Big 12 as well. I mean, it's insane. It doesn't make any sense to me. how she has not been fired yet. It blows my mind.
Yeah, you hit it on the nail. With them going to the Big 12, what does this mean for the athletes? More, that's the big thing. Is like, all right, the school they messed up. Like, all right, it's not the first time we've seen a school mess up. Like, Michigan's in the biggest mess up in the entire country, and they're still winning games and stuff. But it's what is going to happen to these athletes that they've dedicated their lives. They moved, some of them moved maybe to the country just to play for certain athletic programs here at Arizona, and now they just got to up in their lives and go somewhere else, go back home, go to another university. They got to pay more money, got to pay more tuition. It's just like this is a whole entire situation where, oh man, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing. There's going to be a lot of people accused, and like you said, there's got to be when you fire someone here, some people might say it's a scapegoat situation. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like, hey, let's get this person out of this role. Like, how do you mess up so bad that you allow this to happen, or even if you try to warn people it was too late situation, like let's get them out. Like get them out.
Yeah.
Let's try and clean slate this thing, figure out a solution, and try and move forward. Because like you said, Big 12. This is, that's a big conference, man. I know the Pac-12 is a Power 5 conference, but you can't be. That's a weird way to enter, the Big 12. Kind of how are they going to feel about this? All the execs over there, like, all right, this team can't.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're going to be able to help out. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to at all.
Well, they'll get their money that they always get from the conference, but besides that, I mean, it says right here. $40 million comes from the Pac-12. $30 million comes from ticket sales, mostly football, basketball, and the final 30 comes from a philanthropist from philanthropy.
Yeah, this girl won't even get a job at a bank if she screwed up this bad.
Bro, she better not have another job in finances at all, bro.
Oh, never, dude, never, ever. But keeping it in the Pac-12. Speaking of a Pac-12 team, the Utah Utes are getting their super duper senior to Utah. Nate, how do you feel about this move? And do you think it still gives Utah a chance to compete in the new conference next year with the veteran quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of cut out there, so I didn't hear some of that, but I know what you're talking about. Utah here. With Cam Rising. I love it, man. This is a perfect move for him specifically. You're not going to get drafted, first of all. If you do, it's 6th or 7th round. No one's going to draft a kid that's coming off of an ACL injury that didn't play an entire season. So for him, great move. For Utah, hey, go take a run at this Big 12, man. Who says you can't win the conference in your first season? I love the move for both sides. The pig farmer, he was good. No one's saying he wasn't good, but he wasn't.
He bamboozled me at the beginning of the season. I thought he was going to be better than Cam.
And that's the thing. Like he had moments where he played some really good technical football, but what Cam Rising brings is he's not bringing. He's not coming in here to play like these elite armed quarterbacks that are going to get drafted in the first round. Top 10 pick. That's not him. He's a gritty guy. That he fits the mold of Utah, man. Like he is Utah.
He is Utah.
Like literally, bro. He is that team, man. Like watching him play, I've seen so many times where he, dives for a first down, takes a hit, runs through him, gets a first down. Breaks a sack, finds a guy downfield. He's a tough guy, and it's more about that factor for me coming back to Utah, bringing that energy to a great defense. They'll still be there. They'll still have some of that talent on offense. That coach is going to have them ready for any task. I love their head coach pulling up in the Harley for the Pat McAfee show. That was pretty baller. But yeah, man, this is a great move for both sides. I love Cam Rising. I love his grit, love his moxie. And that's exactly what Utah needs. It felt like Bryson Barnes had skills to win games, but he didn't embrace Utah enough. Like either that or Utah didn't embrace him enough. I know Pig Farmer. Hey, that's a pretty. I
big step up.
I respect the Pig Farmer, man. But Cam Rising, that the mullet, everything that comes with him, man. I mean, he's a dog, and I gotta respect Camp Rising, and good move. I love to see him coming back to college football.
About to say you're right on point with that. I totally agree with you. Did you know that he committed to? So this is how it all started. He committed to Oklahoma. Okay, then decommitted from Oklahoma, commits to Texas, goes to Texas, redshirts for a year.
That's
doesn't like what's going on. Doesn't like where he's seeing himself coming into the future. Transfers to Utah, and then the rest is history.
Jeez.
Rest is history. I mean, 2 Pac-12 championships, 2 Rose Bowl appearances. Did he lose both those Rose Bowls? Yes, they did.
But they played their butts
if you
off.
look at but I mean, one of the last Rose Bowl he was in, that's where he tore his ACL. But the Rose Bowl against Ohio State is where it really stuck out to me. Where he stuck out to me as a player. Like this dude can do everything on the field that you need him to do. I mean, once again, as you said, he's not a top 10 pick. He's not going to be somebody that's going to wow you with special arm talent or break 5 tackles and find somebody deep in the end zone. Well, I mean, he could do that. We've seen it. But as you said, with the grit, the passion, he is Utah. He is the Utah Utes. He is their quarterback. He is the man. So, yes, I really do like the move coming back. 7th season, a little ridiculous.
Super ridiculous.
A little ridiculous. Super duper senior over here. Kind of reminds me of Jack Abraham, Jack Abraham, that old fart came in, Southern Miss, Missouri, Mississippi State, everybody. He played everywhere, But I love it. I think this gives Utah a very big chance in the Big 12 next year, especially with Arizona, the way they're playing and the way they're going to be returning people next year on that team. I think it's going to be between Utah and Arizona in that Big 12 conference next year. We should see, but I do like the move for Cam staying back because this will also improve the draft stock to where he possibly could be a top 10, top 15 pick, depending on who needs a quarterback. Because, as we see in the NFL right now, everybody's got their guy.
Yep.
So it's just like, if you want to ride the bench around this old dude, you can. I mean, look at the Jets. I mean, when Aaron gets back, they don't have anybody.
Yeah. So, no, Aaron's not coming back. But yeah, I mean, like literally, he could work his way into a job, and I think that's also part of that thought process too. What's the reason? There's no reason to go to the NFL. You're not going to get drafted probably with the whole injury that he faced. But yeah, man, that'll probably do us on our headlines. There is one thing I did want to show you, CDM. Kind of get your thoughts here on, this guy's given us some gold recently. And I just want to see what your thoughts are on Jim Harbaugh. My fault. Jim Harbaugh. Talking about what he likes to see in his locker room.
A lot like my mom's bathing suits. See them in one piece. Locker rooms. A lot like my.
I don't know if I'd play for him as a player anymore. I'd hit the transfer portal right after that video.
When I heard that, I was like, this guy's batting.
That's cringe. Bro, that is like cringe with you right there.
He's batting 1,000 at the mic, bro. He does not give a crap. He just says stuff at this point, bro.
I mean, look how much trouble he's in, dude. Do you blame him? Like,
hey, the master of deflection. He is. Hey, what's your thoughts on the entire investigation? You're not being able to coach your team. I'd like to see in my locker room, like my mom's bathing suits. I like to see them in one piece, That's what I like to see.
Nope.
Jim, that was not the question. We're asking you about the investigation. Nice question, guys. I like to see my team.
You can investigate.
We're back. Sorry, we're having some minor technical difficulties, if I can get the word out. Technical difficulties saying that too, but I don't know what the heck's going on. Computer's freaking out on me right now, so it might not be the last time it happens. So, but yeah, Jim Harbaugh is he's batting 1,000 at the mic, and I just wanted to get your thoughts and your opinion and reaction to those comments. All right, CDM, let's get into a little bit of a season recap here. Let's talk about some teams that surprised us, some teams that disappointed us. There's some teams out there, man, that came to the season with some real high hopes. And boy, oh boy, did they disappoint. And some teams, some of these teams came out here and overplayed expectations. So we're going to start.
Shock the nation.
Hey, shock the nation. We got some teams out here that have a chance to even maybe sneak into the playoffs. CDM, how about you start us off real quick here? What team was the biggest surprise to you this season?
Mizzou. Oh my gosh, Missouri by a landslide, bro. Mizzou showed up and showed out because everybody was expecting 11 losses, like at least not above 500. That's what everybody
They were
was expecting.
projected
At
to
least
finish last in the East, bro.
under Vanderbilt.
Yep, they were projected to finish last.
I would have taken that
if
as
not
disrespect.
second last. Yeah, exactly.
I would have taken. Yeah, that's big disrespect. That's like, oh, you got me losing under Vanderbilt? No, this isn't baseball, buddy. No. Yeah, Missouri was the one that surprised me the most. I mean, for them to beat all the odds, and people say that they're not going to be above 500, to being at what are they 9-2 right now?
Yep.
Yeah, 9-2, and the way they've been playing, went toe-to-toe with Georgia for 4 quarters was absolutely amazing. So, Mizzou was the team that really surprised me, and in my opinion, surprised all of us around the country. The most disappointing team, in my opinion, and a lot of people may not agree with me, but the more I looked at it, the more I really thought, this team had a lot of hype coming around them, and then it just kind of fell off. It would be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
I like that.
Kind of disappointed. Okay. Kind of disappointed me, especially with Sam Hartman coming in as their starting quarterback. Finally got a guy that can sling the rock, put it downfield. Doesn't have to really rely on his legs as much, rather than rely on his arm talent and what he can do inside of the pocket. But for them just to get 3 losses and have all this hype around this amazing defense that Marcus Freeman has formed around, and this offense that can finally be electric and, shock everybody of, Notre Dame not scoring over 30 points a game. That's what Notre Dame's not used to doing, or we're not used to seeing that. And finally Sam Hartman comes in, makes that push for it. And then the Ohio State game happened. And then the Louisville game happened. And then the Duke game happened. They may have beat Duke, but still, that was a closer game than expected.
Yep.
Clemson happened. I mean, just all those the 3 losses are bad. Don't get me wrong. But so much talent, so much hype coming out of the season was very disappointing for me to see Notre Dame, because honestly, they had a chance to beat Ohio State. They had a chance to go and make a playoff push, just as every other team has an opportunity. They had one of the biggest opportunities and still couldn't hit on it.
Yeah, I like your teams, man. There was some, I can't disagree on that big surprise, but I had 2 teams wrote down, so I'll say the other team. I did have Missouri. It was kind of hard to pick between these teams, so I'll say the other team. I got to go with Louisville, man. They were another team that had really kind of, no one thought they were going to be horrible, but no one thought they could win the ACC. That was not a possibility coming into the season. And, when you looked at the roster, I mean, there was not much that was like, oh, this guy's jumping off the paper for me. This guy is like, oh, I mean, they might not have this, but they have this guy, They didn't have much of that. They just got a lot of guys in a lot of good places, and their coaching is very impressive, a hard-nosed football team. I mean, this team should be undefeated. They just slip up once against Pitt. If they don't lose that game, they'd be legitimately in the playoff race. They need help.
They'd be undefeated.
They need help now, but if they don't lose that game, they are in the playoff race with a very good chance.
If they win the ACC Championship, then I think they're in. I think they're totally in.
They have a chance. They need some help, I think, but
they would totally get walked over in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to win, but they could get in there.
What if they did, though? What if they did?
That'd be a Cinderella story, right? But
I would love to watch that. If Louisville made a championship game this year, I would love to watch that game.
Yes, I would watch
It'd be like it'd be like the TCU of last year.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't get beat by 60 in the championship game if they make it. But yeah, Louisville, very surprising. Have a chance for the ACC Championship. I mean, and like I said, with a little bit of help, you might make a play in the playoffs, man. And that's just no one had Louisville in their playoffs. So I don't want to hear that. I don't even know if Louisville fans thought that coming into the season. So, but biggest surprise for me. has to be Louisville. Biggest disappointment. I mean, there's some teams, I went back onto the first top 25, and you look at it, and obviously first top 25 doesn't mean anything. It's always, you go look back at it, you're like, they really thought this team would be that good? Like, it's every single season. It's every year consistent. But looking back at where teams were set up, where they were ranked, I think it comes down to 3 teams. I did not think Notre Dame, and when you said it, I was like, dang, I can't believe I didn't think of them, which I do like that a lot. It came down to 3 teams for me. I'll say all 3 of these teams: Clemson, USC, LSU. And I'm going to have to go LSU, man. I'm going to have to go LSU. And my only reason is because out of those 3 teams, people actually thought LSU had championship aspirations this season. And it's one thing to lose only to Alabama and you're knocked out. It's one thing to lose only to a Georgia and be knocked out. This team's lost 3 games. They lost to Florida State, Ole Miss, and Alabama. And yes, those are all top 10-ish teams, and Ole Miss is right on that brink. But, 3 losses for a team that had legitimate playoff aspiration. People thought they could win it. It's not like people were just saying they could make the playoffs. They maybe could win the SEC. People thought they could actually pull it off. And, seeing what they did this season, and obviously the offense is a championship offense, but that defense is far from it. And you hate to see that when you got a guy like a Jaden Daniels on your squad. But, hey, that's the reality of this sport, man. It's just, hey, some things just don't go your way, and the defense was not prepared for a championship run. And I just have to just be honest. I do believe LSU was the most disappointing team due to expectations, due to talent, and, due to last year. It's not like this team just came out of nowhere. Everyone was just like, oh, they're going to be good. Like, they won the SEC West last year, and then they do this season. They take a step back somehow when Jaden Daniels is having an elite Heisman. You lose only one game to that. If you only lose to Alabama, he's the clear-cut Heisman favorite in my opinion. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
So
factual.
It has to be LSU for me when it comes to most disappointing. It's a little homerish, but also like this team was a championship team. This was supposed to be a championship team, and you're not even going to sniff that. Like, you're not even number 2 in the SEC, number 3, not even number 4. So,
I like how you said USC being a disappointing team when they were just always the disappointment. Like, think of it like it's the redheaded adopted stepchild. Like, think of it as the redheaded stepchild that you just never wanted.
Yeah.
But you somehow got, and he never peaked. He never had the potential. He just never, you could polish him out and see if you can find it, but it's just not there. It's just not there, and that's what USC is.
Yep.
That's what USC. But speaking of your 3 teams, I have 3 teams that could make a push for the 12 next year, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
3 teams that can actually make a legit shot at making the 12-man playoff next year. And I'll start it off right here. I got Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss can actually do it. I think Lane Kiffin is that coach to at least get them to a 12-man playoff. You have 12 slots, man, okay? You got to be 1 through 12, okay? You can't really screw this up right now. You can't screw it up unless you lose some BS game. But Ole Miss is one of them. Mizzou, if they keep up what they're doing and carry that momentum into next season and possibly get a better defense than what they had this year, then I honestly think that Mizzou can make a push to be in that 12-man playoff. And then my final team, and it's a team that, everybody thinks that they can make the playoffs every year. I think they can do it. They really can't do it. They're always disappointing, even though I still love them to death. It is Penn State. I think that since an expansion is coming, we are Penn State. Let's go, baby. If James Franklin could just muster up some courage to be either an Ohio State or Michigan just one time next year, just one time, then you're automatically in a playoff lock. You just can't lose more than 2 games. Whoever loses 2 games next year is going to make it into the playoffs. But they need to figure something out, especially with the Big Ten expanding. But those are my 3 teams: Ole Miss, Missouri, and Penn State.
I like that. I like that a lot. Oh man. This is a fun topic, man, because 12 teams, everybody's ready to see it. And, seeing it this season, how competitive it is. I can't even imagine what next season is going to be like with the competition level, probably even getting closer with all the NIL and transfer portal. I mean, it's probably going to be even better than this season. That'd be a little hard to believe with how competitive everybody has been. But when it comes to 3 teams, I like maybe slipping into there. I like your Ole Miss pick. Ole Miss bringing back Dart, bringing back a good bit of that talent in the receiver room. Lane Kiffin's, he's been close, man, and if they're only losing to Alabama, then they're going to be setting themselves up pretty nicely for a possible berth in that 12-team playoff. Number 2 team for me has to be another green pick here, Missouri. Brady Cook coming back. So you do lose Schrader, which is a massive piece, but with everything happening in the transfer portal, there's got to be a running back out there saying, man, they use Schrader a lot, man. I would love to maybe be put into that system. They're going to land a guy in the transfer portal. I'd be shocked if they don't, with how much they use Schrader. And obviously, you're not going to just find a Schrader on the street. It's not like these guys are just,
Man, they need to land some defensive recruits out of the portal. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you land a running back, congrats. But, I mean, you need to hit that defensive portal immediately.
Yeah, they could get maybe a couple guys there. They've had some rough stretches, and it's crazy. They're the only team that really have given Georgia a run for their money besides, Auburn.
Hey, Auburn did.
Yeah, I was getting there. Auburn gave them.
But we'll talk about Auburn later.
Yeah, we will. We will talk about Auburn.
Talk about Auburn
later in the podcast. That's a full circle moment. And then the last team, the last team that I think could make a playoff push is a team that I think could make a little bit of a run in the Big 12 as well as that team is in their first year coming up next season. The team that is broke, the Arizona Wildcats. That money, they don't need that money. They got talent. Fafilia, a freshman, he will be back. I love this team. I love their coach. It's interesting because when you look at how does this team lose to a Mississippi State, besides that they lose to USC when they shouldn't have. They lose to Washington in a great game, and those are their 3 losses. You don't lose to Mississippi State. You're looking at them like, geez, this team is literally, I think it's like a, let's see.
They just beat the dog shit out of, they just beat the dog crap out of Utah. Like, they just beat them senseless. Like, the first 2 quarters, it was just, they got up 28-0. I was like, oh my God, dude. This team is good.
That team is
good.
Like
Utah was good during the. I mean, they were both good coming into this game. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I thought Utah would have a little bit more on them.
Dude,
Arizona came in and just wrecked house.
Dude, yeah.
I'm talking about.
Listen to this. They lost. Just throw away the Mississippi State loss. If they win that one, right? They would have only lost their 2 games by a total pointage of 9 points between USC and Washington, 2 of the better teams.
Well, they shouldn't even lost to USC. I'm laying in my bed right behind me. I'm laying in that bed, okay? And I am just watching TV. I see the USC Arizona game on, and I'm just like, okay, well, Pac-12 football at night is probably some of the best football that you could ever watch sometimes because it's like you stay up till at least 12, 1 in the morning watching football.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's fun. That's the one thing I'm going to miss about the Pac-12 is Pac-12 at night. Those games are fire.
Yep.
I mean,
there.
That's one of my best parts of college football. Imagine coming home like for night on the town with your boys and you just come home, you just crack open a cold one, turn on the TV, there's still more football. Yep. But I'm laying in my bed and I'm watching this game and I'm like, dear God in heaven, man. Arizona can really win this game right now. But this is when I was on my USC stuff. Now that we have all established that.
Let's go Wildcats.
Dude, I have to be, I live with 2 babies, so I have to be super quiet.
Let's go Wildcats.
But, oh my gosh, I'm standing up and I'm just like, yes. Ah. And then next thing you know, I mean, they get the ball back and they send it to overtime. I'm like, oh my God, dude, Arizona, you could actually do it. And this is when USC was starting to people were starting to figure out USC was garbage. Now we all know USC themselves know that they are garbage.
Yeah,
so I'm glad they've actually.
That's crazy, right? 7-5. That's
7-5, dude. Like trash, just trash, bums, cheeks. buns.
They got waxed by UCLA, bro.
Dude, I mean, they just got murdered. The offense didn't look good. The offense didn't good look. I mean, defense didn't look good. Special teams. This team is trash.
Chip
But
Kelly
back
saved
to
his
Arizona,
job, bro.
But back to your Arizona pick. Arizona has got so much talent, so much time to grow as a team. I can see them in the next maybe 2-3 years being in the Florida State of this year.
Ooh.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, Fafilia, senior coming in there. I like that.
Yeah, coach him up, get some players around him. NIL and transfer portal have hit. So, I mean, in the next 2 or 3 years, I expect Arizona to be the Florida State of this year.
I keep saying his name wrong. It's Fafita.
Yeah, Fafita.
Fafita. I keep saying Fafilia.
He's a dog, bro.
Dog.
He is a monster.
He is an absolute monster, man. I mean, sorry. Yeah, he for a freshman, for him to come in and play like he has, he's got his teammate from high school on the same team, McMillan. So you got a little bit of a connection there, and he's their number one guy. So
nice.
Hey, I love to see that. But yeah, Arizona.
That'll
do our little teams sneaking into that 12 team. I'm so excited for the 12 team, man. Hey, real quick, how successful do you think it is? Do you think it's gonna be perfect?
No, it's not. There's no way. There's no way. There's gonna be one team. There's gonna be a couple teams that are left out next year that you're just gonna scratch your head on. Like, should they though? And especially, I think it's gonna be the SEC teams.
Yep.
I mean, especially adding in Oklahoma and Texas, I think there's gonna be some SEC teams that are gonna miss out.
Yeah, there's going to be that case.
Probably
SEC's always going to be better than the better teams in this conference, and so there's always going to be that.
Yeah,
debate.
exactly. I mean, I don't think it's going to be perfect, but I do think I think they're going to buff it out in the next couple years. I don't know. I have to see it first. I have to see it happen, and I don't know. They may have to do like what the NBA is doing, do like a little in-season tourney for like seeding.
Yeah. Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. We'll see, man.
NCAA, give me a call.
Give me a call. All right. That'll do it for us on our 12-team playoffs, mini predictions in a way. That'll do it for our season recap as well. Let's get into our weekly recap, CDM. Big games around the country.
Had a lot of fun games.
Coming into the week, we were like, there's not many ranked matchups. There's not many of them. And there ended up being a lot of good football played, interesting football upsets around the country,
One upset that I was very happy to see.
We'll talk about that one in a minute. Upset of the week. Upset of the year. I'll just say it like that. Insanity. But let's get into the big game of the weekend, the biggest game, the funnest game, the most competitive game. Washington Huskies get the job done against a very, very tough Beavers squad and DJ Uyalong. I practiced it.
You Ungalale.
I practiced it and I messed it up. But but yes, that team over there in Oregon State, they played their butts off and really, really tried to get that job done and really mess up the Pac-12 and, like Nolan said, kind of cannibalize the conference. But Washington was once again able to get another victory to stay undefeated. CDM, after that gritty game, showed a little bit of a different way that, Washington showed ways they can win. They showed a different way they can win now. After that, do you think the Huskies have already peaked, though, earlier in the season, or can they still win it all?
I mean, 22-20. So it was a rainy game. It was cold. Oregon State came out to play like they usually do. Very, very rainy. I mean, it was some heavy rainfall during this entire game. Washington offense still looks good to me. I still think they have the best wide receiving core in the country. A top 5, top 3 wide receiver right now in the country in Ouzier. Dude is a dog, especially with Michael Penix throwing the ball. One thing that opened it up was the defense actually didn't play bad this game, holding this team only to 20 points with a high scoring offense that they have. Holding Oregon State to 20 points was, I think, in my opinion, a victory for that defense because it kind of showed that they could stay in play and not crumble under some pressure, especially when a game is so close. Because I mean, those couple final drives for Oregon State, they drove down the field.
Yeah.
I mean, they drove down the field, but Washington came up with some stops when they needed to. Do I think they've peaked? I think they have peaked. I totally think they've peaked. They have not looked as good since Oregon, and everybody in the country has noticed it. I think Oregon is noticing it as well. I think they're getting ready for some revenge in the next week or the next couple weeks when it comes to meeting them in Vegas again, because they are going to Vegas. It's going to be Oregon versus Washington in Vegas, and I think the Oregon gets it done. I think Washington's core. I think the offense is just doing what they need to do, but I don't think that defense is going to be ready for what Bo Nix is doing right now. Bo Nix is on fire.
Ugh.
Bo Nix is the front runner for the Heisman right now. I mean, basically, if he has a good game this week and he wins the Pac-12 championship game, I think you just go ahead and slap a bow on it and put his name on it and sign it to him. Because I mean, the way that they've been playing compared to how Washington's been playing, Washington has been letting teams just sneak around, stay in the games, keep things close. You can say the USC game was kind of a big win scoring wise, but I mean, if you really look at it, was it though? I mean, it was like a 10-point win. Oregon's been blowing these teams out, so I do think Washington has peaked already. Do I think just because they peaked, they still can't go win it all? No, I think if you peak right now, you still have a total chance to go out and win. Just depends on who's your opponent and who you're going to be playing. But I do think they've peaked. I think that this win against Oregon State was a big win, though, just to really set the tone of, hey, if we can beat a number 11 Oregon State, we can go and beat Washington State, which is going to be easy, I think. And then we go and play Oregon again. And that's just going to set the tone for this team a little bit going into these next couple of weeks. But, yes, I do think they've peaked, but there's still a chance they can go win it all if they continue to do what they need to do on the defensive side of the ball and offense keeps cooking.
Yeah, I mean, very gritty game. And like you said, terrible conditions, kind of had to overcome elements of the weather. And that's a part of football. I mean, especially playing out in the West. I mean, that's kind of, you got to be prepared for those kinds of games. And biggest thing for me out of this game, you kind of alluded to it, was, the defense stepping up. But seeing Washington win in a different way, they got a pretty big lead in that game, and then I don't love when a team takes their foot off the gas. It didn't feel fully like that to me. It felt like, hey, we're gonna play this game not to lose, and I still don't agree with that concept. Like, that is not a way I believe is great to win majority of football games. This game felt like it was a situation where you needed to do it. You got a lead, a pretty nice lead. Oregon State has struggled throughout the game to kind of hold the ball and move the ball down the field for points. And Washington, they didn't do a great job holding the ball. Like, they just kept giving the ball back. But Oregon State started to find a groove. What was it, 8-minute drive in the third quarter, 10-minute drive? And I was just like, I mean, this is bad. Like, Washington can't play this kind of game. And Washington was able to kind of just, bleed the clock just enough, play a good enough defense for long enough to find a way to win. And I think that's a win that they needed in a way that, I've said that they needed a big win, like they need to smack a good team for a while, but you're in the point of the season, you're playing rivalry games, you're playing teams that are just as good as you. It's just not as, you're not going to see that as much. You're not going to see, them throw it around the yard as much and, put up 50 points, especially like we said in those conditions. But, a win where you're tested, you have to find a way to win in, just horrible conditions. I believe that's good for your morality. I think that's good for your confidence in a team that has kind of felt like they've been losing their confidence over the past few weeks, even though they just keep on winning. But, so there's been some certain games where they've caught some breaks where maybe if those breaks don't go their way, they don't win. So and when it comes to if they've already peaked and if they can win it all, I don't know if Washington, the team, has peaked yet because I don't believe the defense has hit its peak. I think that Michael Penix has maybe hit his peak. I think we've seen Michael Penix play his best ball this season because, man, there's been moments where I'm like, Jesus, this guy is an NFL quarterback. And these past, 3 weeks, I'm over here like, This guy misses throws. Like it doesn't. Oh, look at the
Oh,
appearance.
hi everybody! I just wanted to. I was moving her, but this is Lady May, the new part of the Pound Perspective.
You're wrong podcast.
Oh well, College Kings. My bad, College Kings, and Pound Perspective.
There you go. I love that. But yeah, man. When I was getting to Michael Penix, I've seen him just miss a lot of throws recently. Like a lot of throws.
I've seen it happen a little bit too, and it's just kind of it's head scratching.
Yeah, I mean it is when you see the guy for 5 straight plays absolutely throw ropes into freaking keyholes. You're just like, this guy is absolutely insane. Like,
well, I also think that the Washington coordinators make him like they want him to go for that home run type of ball. Like they just want him to put it down in the end zone. And I mean, it's not that every play. I mean, you don't have to push it downfield 3-5 plays in a drive.
Yep.
I mean, if you have a solidified run game, which they kind of do, Washington does kind of have a solidified run game that helps the pass game open up even more. You don't have to rely on Michael Penix doing 6-7 step drop backs and just launching it down the field. Yeah, you have one. Yeah, you have the best wide receiving core in college football, but you don't have to always have those home run plays that you constantly make every week. Because I mean, people are going to start figuring out about that. They're going to start figuring ways to make the coverages harder for you to read. So yeah, I kind of do agree that Michael Penix has kind of peaked in a way.
Yeah, it just feels like we've seen him play his best, and obviously that's easy to say right now. You never know what he can do against Oregon in the championship game and stuff, but I do want to shout out Oregon State in a slight way because, man, they played their butts off in that game. They literally played that second half perfectly. If they played that second half like they would throughout the entire game, they would have won the game. Like, going into that game, I thought the only way Oregon could win this game is if they hold the ball, limit possessions for the Washington offense, and play good defense. In that second half, that's exactly what they did. They kept the ball out of Penix's hands. They moved the ball slowly and got touchdowns, and they played good defense. And they just didn't do that in the first half. Their offense is just as effective in a different way, and they take the most snaps under center more than any team in the entire country by far. It's like the percentage is kind of crazy how much of a difference it is. And first of all, I think that's a perfect offense for DJ. DJ looked good. Like DJ looks comfortable.
He's so weird he looks so weird when he throws the ball to me, dude.
Yeah,
does not look smooth. Like his throwing motion is just not smooth.
His mechanics.
His arm comes all the way out here, and it's not even at 90 degrees. It's straight. Like it's like out here. Like it's like when he comes back here, he just does this. Like no bend in the arm, no just elbow coming forward first and just launching it. It's more of just here to here.
Yeah, 2 picks to the same guy. That dude had a day, number 1 for Washington. He's a stud. Their corner.
Dude, stud. But Odunze. That's a dog, bro. If Marvin Harrison Jr. was not in college football right now, either this dude or Malik Neighbors would be the best wide receiver, or Keon Coleman.
Like Odunze is unfreaking real. He had another amazing day, and another shout out. We'll get off of the Oregon State Washington game after this. Damian Martinez, running back Oregon State. This guy is an absolute
monster
dog. This dude was running over guys. He was in his Derrick Henry era in this game, bro. Like what he was doing to guys was absolutely disrespectful on many levels, man. He was crazy in this game.
I think he dribbled somebody's head off the pavement. Pretty sure I saw him dribble somebody off the ground.
What are you doing? Get out of here, bro. Shoulder, I mean, this dude.
Shoulder check him right there, dude. But it was a great game between both of them. Yes. Washington locking up a Pac-12 championship appearance. Next week, this week, Oregon's probably going to lock up the Pac-12 championship. But speaking of punching your ticket to a championship game, the Louisville Cardinals punched their ticket to the ACC Championship game with a win over Miami, but they have to take on the Florida State Seminoles. So, do they have a legit chance at beating the Seminoles without Jordan Travis taking snaps now? That's the real question. And in my opinion, I think they do. I think they have a legit shot of beating this team and going and not even making a playoff right now. Not even talking about playoffs. I'm talking about winning this championship game. I think they have a legit shot at winning this championship game because their win over Miami was gritty. They weren't up that entire game. They had to make a little comeback at the end, but they got the dub at the end of the day. Their team looked a little weird. It looked a little funky, but their defense stepped up when they needed to, and they got 2 major turnovers against Miami and ultimately helped them seal the victory. But the real question is going into this ACC championship game, now that Florida State is without Jordan Travis, will Louisville have a shot? And I think they can. I think their offense is good enough. I don't think it's up there with Florida State's level, but I think their offense is good enough to make a push, give this defense a little bit of a fight. I think Jake Plummer and that offense can get it done. Their run game is super good as well. Their running back, I mean, as you said before about this Oregon State, this dude right here, he's a speed demon. He's dominant. I mean, once he sees the hole, he's going to drop his shoulder and go for it. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird, especially because without Jordan Travis, it's not going to be the same game. It's not going to be the same hype coming around it. It's still going to be a hype game. But if Jordan was playing in it, we would be speaking in different terms like, oh, Florida State's going to beat them. Florida State's going to whoop them now. I think it's going to be up in the air now of who's really going to win this game. And we'll find out after this week. We'll see how Florida State looks an entire game without Jordan Travis, especially since they play the Florida Gators. I think it's at Florida, right? I think so. Yeah, it's at Florida. So they have to go to Florida and play. It's going to be a tough one right there. But I think Louisville has a legit shot to win this ACC championship, especially for this is their first ACC championship appearance. They are the youngest team in the ACC, and this is their first championship appearance, especially without Lamar Jackson. You know, when Lamar Jackson was playing there.
Austin Reeves hits a half-court shot in the half. Oh, my gosh.
Sorry. Austin Reeves, man. White chocolate right there. White magic. But it's kind of funny seeing Louisville do this good, especially with oh my God, I bet. Some things. It's really weird seeing Louisville this good, especially when they had Lamar Jackson and how good he was as a player for this team to not make an ACC championship game. So I think this team is doing some justice right now by winning. Just by winning. They have, I mean, the Pitt loss is the worst loss you have right now. I mean, it's the only loss, but it doesn't leave a good taste in your mouth. It's nasty. It's terrible. No sense. It's gross. It makes no sense. What was the score in that game? Like, honest to God, what was the score in that game?
They got beat down. Hang on, I had it right here. 38-21.
Wait, 38-21? Jesus Christ, dude. It's
17-point loss.
I'm going to close it on this. I think Louisville has a shot. I think Louisville can do it if they play their cards right on both sides of the ball. They have to – I mean, I'm talking about the coaching staff. If you want to screw this team out of making a playoff appearance and put yourself in their shoes and replace them with you being the ACC choice, this is your – I mean, I hate to say it because it's could not be worse timing. Could not be worse timing because if Jordan Travis plays in this game, we have a legit like shootout. Whoever wins this game probably goes and it's probably the ACC choice. But this is the time. This is the time. This is your shot, Louisville. I think they can get it done. Go Cards. How do you feel about Louisville? How did you feel about that win against Miami? And do you think they have a legit shot?
Miami, a lot of grit. Seeing Van Dyke go out there and, not throw a pick is kind of a rare occurrence. But this is about Louisville, and Louisville
still had a turnover, though.
He did. But this is more about Louisville and what they did in this game to kind of, mitigate, that performance from Miami. And, there was a part of me that was like, all right, Miami is going to play good in this game, and they're going to give them a run for their money. And I was pretty right about that. I did still pick Louisville to win the game. And, man, I got to be honest, like, seeing how Louisville wins games, and we texted about it, this has got to be the most the most confusing freaking team in the country, man.
This is Thursday night. So here, let me give the pod some okay, so this is Thursday night. They're playing Virginia, okay, and they're down in this game.
Yep.
And I'm texting Nathan, like, oh my God, Louisville's trash. They're going to lose. Then I text him back after they score again. I'm like, they're just really confusing.
Yep.
This is just this is one of the most confusing teams I've watched this season. And then I text him and just tell him, never mind. You know, they won the game ultimately.
Yep.
But it's so weird. It's so confusing to me.
They are. But you laid out the groundwork, man. They got a good running game. They've got a pretty dang good defense. Obviously, it didn't show up fully in this game, and it's shown moments to have lapses throughout the year. But, I mean, it's so interesting to me what this team can do. Championships teams, especially when it comes to conference championships, need a good defense and a running game in the winter. In December, you've got to have those two things. That's how you win games. And now they've got a quarterback that's he might not make all the perfect throws, but this guy is not afraid to rip it. Yeah. The plumber.
Pause real fast. CP3 just got tossed. He just got two technical
against
fouls.
the Suns, too. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, dude, what a terrible. Okay, as you were saying, you know, the quarterback for Louisville, Jake Plummer.
Yeah, I mean, Plummer, not afraid to rip it, and he's going to get into mistakes. He's going to throw interceptions. He threw one in this game, but he also threw for 300 yards.
Clock himself out of situations.
Dude, the Plummer. Booting, ding. The Plummer at its finest, man. I love him. He's a fun guy to root for, too. Any guy with that last name, I'm going to root for the Plummer. You know, that's just you're just going to get that. You're going to get that. So, respect. I really like this team. Can they win an ACC championship? They can now. And obviously, you don't want to see them win because of a Jordan Travis injury. But we said it earlier in the pod. That's a part of the sport. Injuries happen. And Louisville, as much as they probably are saying, we would love to beat this team without Jordan Travis, I promise they're not losing any sleep not having to play the guy. So
no, and I think Louisville's starting to peak at this moment. I think
Yes.
Louisville's starting to figure things out. Speaking of peaking, we move on to the team that is peaking the hottest, that is getting the hottest besides the Alabama Crimson Tide. It would be the number 1 2-time defending national champs, Georgia Bulldogs are peaking right now. Peaking. They're getting hot. Peaking right at the right time once again. Can Carson Beck get this team to a three-peat? God. Oh! Yeah, I have to admit it. They can't. He can't. He can't do it.
Okay.
He can't do it.
Okay.
I don't think he can. As much as I respect Georgia, I respect Kirby Smart. I can't lie about it. Yeah, he can. I think he can. Honest to God, like, I can't lie about it. Honest to God, I think he can get this team to a three-peat. He is on fire right now, dude. He's playing lights out. Like, even though he played like 2 games without Brock, he still balled out. Yep. So, I mean, and Georgia right now is just peaking at the right moment, dude. Peaking, getting hot, whooping teams. I mean, the Ole Miss game was a perfect explanation of how good they are right now. We'll find out on December 2nd. We'll really find out who's the best team in the SEC right then and there. But Georgia right now is on fire. And Carson Beck, and I think Carson Beck is going to solidify himself in New York. I think we will see him in New York sitting in the chair, not holding the Heisman Trophy, though, but I think he will be a representative for the University of Georgia. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, has some technical difficulties. But as I was saying, do I think Carson Beck can lead Georgia back to a three-peat? I absolutely do, but it's not just Carson Beck. It's Kirby Smart and that coaching staff, plus the entire Georgia team in general that is just hitting the marks right on point. It's going to be a battle in Atlanta on December 2nd. I think the Tide and the Dogs go at it. Been 2 years since they played each other, so I think it's going to be a really good game. But I think Carson Beck and the Georgia Bulldogs are doing what they need to do to go back and play for a three-peat. Nate, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, man, it's insane to watch what Carson Beck has kind of become this season. Coming this season, we were all wondering, can he be Stetson Bennett? Realistically, he's played better than Stetson Bennett. He's
Oh my
more
God,
of a
he's been
threat.
playing lights out.
He's more of a threat than Stetson Bennett ever was, and it's kind of crazy that they have a legitimate passing game now with a legitimate quarterback behind center. And that's not to take away from Stetson. Stetson's a champion. He's a dog. But Carson Beck's like on another level when it comes to his skills on the football field. And can he do it? Yeah, he can. And it's not just because of him. It's about, like you said, Kirby Smart, the defense, their experience, their talent. It's like Georgia, they're just Georgia at this point. Like they're not going to be out of it. If they win against Alabama, they're probably going to be the favorites, rightfully so. And can Ohio State beat them? Can Michigan beat them? Can Oregon beat them? Can Washington beat them? I don't know. I don't know. It's I'm not going to pick against them. I've learned my lesson. That's for dang sure.
I think we both learned our lesson on picking against Georgia. It never works out.
It never works out. So, yeah. They can, which is kind of crazy to think. And, man, we're kind of witnessing some history, bro. And, hey, Carson Beck.
Makes me not happy.
I know it doesn't.
Hey, but Carson Beck, keep doing what you're doing, brother. Keep balling out.
Slinging the pill,
Until December 2nd. Until December 2nd.
Oh, that's so.
Caleb Downs, midfield pick 6 right there. Colin. But speaking of another team that stays hot or that's staying on fire with a quarterback that is on fire, who is the legit, Vegas pick to win the Heisman, which would be Oregon Ducks, baby. Give me the O right there. Oregon, staying hot, staying on fire. Bo Nix first half stats last week. First half, this is the first half. 22 of 27. Dog. 381 yards. Dog. 6 tutties. 6 tutties. Dog. Oh my gosh, dude. So did he lock down the Heisman with that performance? Nate, did he lock down that performance?
In every other universe, in every other scenario, I would say yes. But Jaden Daniels decided to put up 8 touchdowns. I know it's against Georgia State. So when it comes to lockdown, I don't think he's locked it down. But I'll say this. He's made it nearly impossible to not win this award because he will have an extra game. And if he wins that game, he avenges his only loss on the season. And if he does it in style, you got to give the boy the Heisman. So, has he locked it down? No, I cannot say that. But he's the front runner. He should be the front runner simply because he has a chance to avenge his only loss on the season. And it's not like he played bad. He's played great all season. So, rightfully so.
He's barely played a fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, rightfully so. He should be the favorite. It is actually crazy, and I don't want to call you out, but technically, Jaden Daniels is the Vegas favorite on all books right now.
Bet. Okay, bet. My bad.
No. I mean, Boat has been the guy, and randomly this week, not randomly, Jaden Daniels did what he did, but, every book, and it's not like it's big. It's literally, he's minus 130, and Bo Nix is plus 130, so it's dang near a pick 'em at this point between those two guys.
I have to disagree.
Yes.
Just because the 3 losses are killer.
Yep.
If you just lose to at least to Florida State and Bama and keep it at 2 losses, that's totally okay. We've seen people with 2 losses. Hell, we've seen people with 3 losses win the Heisman. It's totally possible for Jaden Daniels to win the Heisman. Because, he's been balling. Even when they lose, he balls. 600 all-purpose yards by himself against Florida. One-man wrecking crew right there. Don't get me wrong. Absolute unit. Honestly, looks like the best quarterback in college football. If Caleb Williams would have went to the draft last year, Jaden Daniels would be the number 1 quarterback, possibly the number 1 pick this year in the draft. But Bo Nix is just on a whole different level when it comes to playing right now, man. The most accurate quarterback I've ever seen. And I saw Tua play, and Tua was pretty accurate in college at Alabama. Bo Nix is just on a whole different level. Still throwing above 80%, still throwing right there against conference opponents. 30 touchdowns, I think maybe 3 or 4 interceptions now.
Yeah, I only think 3.
Maybe 2 or 3, I can't remember. But he's got like 30 plus touchdowns.
Bo Nix, 35 tuds, 2 picks.
Good Lord. Okay, see, my point exactly.
78% completion percentage. So.
78% completion percentage. He's not missing.
Nope. He's
not missing many throws. If he's throwing 78%, he's not missing many throws. So, do I think this was the game that locked down the Heisman? No, I don't think it's the game. I think the game that locks down the Heisman is going to be Pac-12 championship game, as you said. But in my opinion, did it push him closer to be the favorite? I think it may have pushed him over Jaden Daniels just a little bit. Mm-hmm. As you said, the Vegas odds are super close. Mm-hmm. I think it may have pushed him over Jaden Daniels a little bit to make that first place push. But the way that Oregon's looking in general, the way this team is looking, it's scary. It's scary how good this offense is. In my opinion, it's the best offense in college football. Nobody else can tell me that. The best one-loss college football team with the best offense is Oregon. They are outstanding right now. Ever since that Washington loss, they have come out and shown out to opponents, have shut down people left and right. And Bo Nix has been the leader of that team. He has grown so much as a player since he's come from Auburn, having to go 3 different head coaches, and then comes to Oregon where he gets Dan Lanning for 2 years and is balled out for those 2 years. So did not lock down the Heisman, in my opinion, did push him up past Jaden Daniels. But in my opinion, I don't think it's about the Heisman right now. I think it's more about revenging that loss against Washington, getting into that playoff push and, crushing someone's dreams either to making the playoffs or going into the playoffs and crushing someone's dreams. Imagine if Oregon makes the playoffs, as a hypothetical. Oregon makes the playoffs at number 4. Georgia wins against Bama, SEC champs, stays at 1. We get a rematch from last year's opening game day week last year, Oregon versus Oregon versus Georgia in the playoffs. Maybe we can. I don't think we see different results. Actually, no. I think we do. I think we do. Because last year's game, Georgia versus Oregon, that was sad.
Oregon wasn't ready.
I don't think they were breathing the same air that they were breathing, dude. They just got dominated. But no, it's gonna be a race for the Heisman for sure.
Yeah, insane. I love it. Bo Nix, absolute dog, animal, and man, what he's doing right now. Hey, just keep on playing ball, brother. You can win that Heisman easily. They've campaigned it. Those fans in Eugene, Oregon have campaigned it for all season long, and it looks like that hard work might pay off. So, hey, I'm a big Oregon fan, big Bo Nix fan. Love to see it. All right, CDM, let's go to your favorite team in the entire country, the Michigan Wolverines. The cleanest team in the country. They would never do anything wrong.
Didn't look clean this game. J.J. McCarthy didn't look clean this game, I'll tell you that.
Hey, they survive. That's the biggest key word in here
By
against the
their
Terps.
Cheese.
Hey, Talia. How do you like Talia out there from Maryland?
Dude's cheeks. There's nothing like his brother, dude. Oh, my God.
Get this guy out of here is what
like 40-ounce bounce your ass back to Hawaii, bro. The hell you think this is? Hawaiian, punch yourself out of here. Hell you think this is? Get out of here, son. As much as I love him, he's just not he's not an elite quarterback right now. He does not play in an elite level. Mm-mm. But this isn't about the Terps.
No.
Terps did what they had to do on defense. The Terps defense played outstanding, played really good. The offense did play good as well, but the defense is what helped them out the most. Defense is what got them in position to score those touchdowns. Talia didn't even throw a touchdown, bro. He threw 2 picks. Boom. Freaking Tua's your big brother? Oh, could have fooled me. More like Tua turned the ball, more like Tyler turned the ball over. What the hell you think this is? But no, Michigan did not. Michigan let up 24 points. That's the most points they've let up all season long.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they did some. But those final couple of drives in the fourth quarter, man, they pinned them back deep into Terps territory, and they just did not get anything going to get momentum started. I mean, you get the stops. Your defense is doing what they need to do and getting the stops, but your offense is not backing the defensive boys up and helping them out by pushing the ball downfield. It does not happen that way, and you can't win a game like that. But Michigan did not look good. Michigan did not look like the Michigan they've played all year. JJ McCarthy looked like cheeks, like buns, like did not look good at all. In my opinion, most overrated player in college football, most overrated quarterback. I don't really think he's going to be first day. I think he's like second, early third day quarterback. They're cheaters as well. Let's just get that out. I'll just say right now, they are a bunch of scumbag cheaters. So we'll just say that. But I mean, other than that, hey, calm down now. Hey, calm down, okay? You're not a Wolverine. We support good teams. Calm down. But Michigan, the way they've looked all season by blowing out these teams, but also, I mean, even though Maryland's not ranked, they still gave them a good fight. The run game did not look explosive. The pass game definitely was not explosive. They did miss. The wide receivers were open. It's just JJ missed them downfield. JJ did not hit them on target. That's one thing that they have always continuously struggled with is the deep ball. Also that they rely on the run game a lot, but when you have one of the best offensive lines and possibly the best running back in the country, why not just, hand the ball off? I mean, they showed it in the Penn State game in the second half. Just hand the ball off. Let the boys up front and let your running back, your workhorse, get you to the promised land. But when it comes down to nitty-gritty moments that you need to put the ball downfield, JJ does not look like he's able to really put the ball on target. And we've seen it last year. I mean, we saw it last year, we saw it the year before. It's just he does not have that downfield accuracy. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say is that last year against Ohio State, he did put the ball downfield. He did put the ball on target. He does know how to throw the ball downfield. Congratulations, you have eyeballs. But did you also see the busted coverage that they had against Ohio State last year? If he didn't hit the damn ball, obviously Jim didn't do a smart idea. If he doesn't hit a wide open target with the busted coverage that Ohio State gave him last year, I don't know what you're going to do if you have somebody wide open right now. And they had a wide open person in that Terps game right over the top of his head. I do put that on the wide receiver a little bit. The wide receiver could have adjusted, but the way the ball was, dude runs a post route. And I'm talking about crisp, clean, split the safeties. It's right. All you got to do, Nate, is drop it right here in the breadbasket. All you got to do is drop it right there. And he put it in a position where his wide receiver had to adjust and couldn't get the ball. So it's really weird to see. It was really weird to see Michigan like this. Especially with this week coming up, to see what's going to happen. And I don't think they need to rely on this run game as much. I love Blake Corum, dude. I think he's a dog. I think he is one of the most genuine people. I mean, did you see the video of what he did with his NIL money?
Yeah, with the turkeys.
Yeah, I mean that's a great guy. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to be able to put the ball downfield when it comes and trust JJ's arm. And right now, if I'm a Wolverines fan, I will not trust him. I won't trust him throwing 20 yards downfield right now. If you're so holed up on running the ball, I would not trust him to throw the ball downfield unless he is like wide open. Like I'm talking about green grass and nobody else.
Yeah. This game was not any more encouraging for Michigan fans or defenders. I promise you that as one myself. Yeah, this was you watch the game and they're gonna win. They're winning, and you can't be mad about that if you're watching it. But there is not much that you're seeing that says this is a championship team right now. Like they have played their best ball. They have played great ball when it comes to when they played against, really terrible teams. And that's been the defense. And that's also Sorry. That's also the defense when it comes to this team, not being able to make the playoffs with a loss because they've only got one win in the top 25, and that is
Penn State.
So,
yeah.
This win is like you kind of look at it like, all right, you got the job done.
You won. Congrats.
You won. And it comes down to Sharon Moore being able to pull off the job, and can he pull off the job in this week? We'll see. We'll talk about that later. And I don't know. Watching the game, I was bored. Like I was just like I knew they were gonna win. There wasn't a part of me that was like they're gonna lose this game, but there was also a part of me where it's like, is this it? Like this is all they're giving you?
Well, it also got interesting. It got interesting in the fourth quarter. But if Maryland's offense could have just grew a set and drove downfield and made the game entertaining, then yeah, totally. I think if Maryland's offense could have drove downfield, they win the game.
Yep.
In my total opinion, I think the way their defense was playing that entire half, the entire second half, they totally could have won that game.
Yep.
But it was kind of a snooze fest. I won't lie to you.
And Michigan, that's the only reason they have a chance this week, in my opinion, is because of that defense. Because that defense, they're good. They're good. And even though they allowed 24, they're still really, really good at football. And respect. That's the only reason that they have a chance this season to actually make a run at it, with how weird this offense has looked recently without Jim on the sidelines. So not much thoughts on the game, man. I watched it, and I was just like, all right, hey, they won. Good job. That's it. That's literally all I can say. So that's all I can really say about Michigan. Let's go on to a team that was upset. Brutally upset. And CDM, with that smile on his face, says it all. The Auburn Tigers, 25.5-point favorites, take an L to the New Mexico State Aggies. What in the hell is happening in Auburn, CDM?
Trash. That's what's happening. Trash. Because they're here, I'll give you the rundown. They are trash. They are cheeks. They are bums. They are buns. They are bamboozlers. They are everything that Auburn is and what Auburn will continue to be for the next couple of years. The Auburn Tigers are just straight ass. It's terrible. They're god-awful. They don't look good. The only game they looked good against was, Georgia? They look good. They should have won that game. Other than that, what the hell, dude? I have not and everybody wants to bring up, a lot of people want to bring up 07 when ULM came to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama. Everybody loves to bring up that. Everybody loves to bring up that crap. Now I get to hold this over Auburn fans for years to come. I'm talking decades, generations. I'm going to tell my great-great-great-grandkids about this before I die, just so they know that Auburn is always going to be cheeks. Because, my God, how do you lose 31-10? First off, congrats, New Mexico State Aggies. Let's go, boys. That's how I feel. But how do you come in at 25.5-point favorites and lose 31-10? First off, this was New Mexico State's first ever win against a college football opponent, like a top 25 SEC or like an SEC team opponent. But the way they did it, bro, was it was impressive. Don't get me wrong. It was very impressive, but it was also it was a weird feeling for me because it was saddening, but it was also just like joy in my heart to see the Tigers. Like, it was so great. It was joyful. It's kind of like that time y'all lost to Troy at home. Remember that time y'all lost to Troy at home?
Yes.
Yeah, y'all lost to Troy. Okay, yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It was good. It was a good feeling, but it just felt so weird to see a team like that, the caliber team like that, lose. The way they did was just embarrassing. Hugh Freeze, man, come on now. Let's be honest. Let's be honest, man. Should he be an SEC? Is he an elite SEC coach? Obviously not. Don't you dare jump on that bit.
Easy now. He beat y'all twice.
Oh, congrats. But how much money did he play his players under the table?
No, he wasn't paying players.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He's paying prostitutes. There we go. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yours truly, Markel Pack from Purvis High School, knows all about that one. Ah!
Oh God.
Oh my Lord. Sorry, I went on a tear. But no, I mean, I don't know what Oregon is going to do. I don't know what Oregon is going to Oregon, sorry. I don't know what Auburn's going to do for the future to come, especially next week when Jordan Hare is going to be crimson and red, and so is the field full of Auburn tears because it's just going to be bad. It's going to be so bad next week. I mean, we dropped 66 on Chattanooga. Oh, they just lost to New Mexico State. Who you really think's going to win this game?
Y'all paid Chattanooga.
I think it was like $500,000.
Way more money than New Mexico State paid Auburn. So,
I mean, that's sad.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yep.
I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy. I'm so happy about it. I love it because next week, dude. Oh my God, I'm talking about touchdown Milroe touchdown, Jalen Milroe touchdown, Ty Simpson in the second half. Nope, not even Tyler, because you know why? Tyler Buntner, whatever the hell his name is, the Alabama third string from Notre Dame. Yeah, he got bumped down to a fourth string. That's how bad he is. It's terrible. But no, Auburn needs to figure things out for the years to come because the SEC is about to get a lot harder going into next year when it's just all SEC opponents. And they have to play LSU. They still have to play Georgia. They still have to play Alabama. So Auburn has to figure it out before it's too late and before Hugh Freeze does not have a job anymore.
Yeah, I ain't got much to say on this one. I didn't watch it, but I saw the highlights. Quarterback from New Mexico State, though, he's kind of a dog. But insanity, absolute just travesty. How does this happen? I don't know. Auburn, you got a lot of problems going on over there. And Hugh Freeze, you do too. And, hey, y'all got to figure something out. That's embarrassing to the SEC. That's embarrassing to everyone involved in that game. You cannot lose that game. Even if you lose the game, you don't lose by 21 freaking points, bro.
Oh no, dude. I work with an Auburn fan, and I was like, hey man, I know this week's kind of like the bum week, but you ready for the Iron Bowl? He's like, yeah, dude, we're gonna give y'all a run for your money. It's gonna be a close game like it always is. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And then after this week, I watched football, and then I saw the score, and then I saw him on Tuesday, and I was like, hey bud. He was like, what's up? I was like, you ready for Saturday? He didn't say a word. Did not. Just walked away. I was like, dominance. Gonna kill this team.
Poor guy.
But I think that will cover our college game recap for week 9. A lot of interesting games were coming into this week.
That week's wrong, by the way. I forgot to change. That was week 12.
Oh, it was week 12?
Yeah, sorry.
Good God, you just made me look like a jackass.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, week 12. So sorry about that. But I think that'll cover the game recap for this week. So I think we need to go into our special segments for our playoff predictions, College Kings Heisman Watch, and our playoff predictions, unofficial playoff predictions.
Yes.
Starting off with the top 6 teams, Nate, man. I think we've seen a little bit of a change. I think we may see a little bit of a shift here. So go ahead and tell me, who are your top 6 teams going into this week?
Yes, sir. Let's take a look here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. I'll give you a little rundown. Nothing has changed for me besides one team. Oregon at 6, Florida State at 5, Washington at 4 now, Ohio State at 3, Michigan at 2, and Georgia at number 1. Welcome back. Like I said, another technical difficulty. We promise this is not going to happen for next week, but I did run down those teams from 6 to 1. I'll do it once again real quick. Oregon at 6, Florida State at 5, Washington at 4, Ohio State at 3, Michigan at 2, Georgia at 1. Washington takes the lead after the sad news in Florida State. Not much else I can say there. That's really pretty much the consensus-ish around the college football universe when it comes to Ohio State, Michigan. You can flip-flop those teams, but Georgia at number 1 is kind of the universal best team right now in college football. So, CDM, what are we looking at for your top 6 teams?
Oh, you can go ahead and draw it up there on the board for me, sir. At number 6, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. At 5, I have Oregon. 4, Washington. 3, Michigan. 2, Ohio State. And 1, Georgia. The biggest thing that everybody's going to be saying, where's Florida State? Where's the Seminoles? And it was very hard for me not to put the Seminoles in there. It's hard for me not to put Florida State in there. But ever since the terrible injury that Jordan Travis, it happened to him, it kind of just brings and I feel like I'm the same way with the college football committee. I mean, the committee put them at 5, but without Jordan Travis in that offense, it's just kind of hit or miss now. You don't know what's going to happen. And everybody else on this list from Georgia to Bama, they all have their solidified quarterback. They're all playing at an elite level. And Florida State was obviously on the list, but now since losing that and having to have a backup come in, it's going to be weird. A lot of people are going to say, "Where's Texas?" Screw Texas. I don't care. I hope when we win the SEC, we piss off a lot of Texas fans. Oregon, I feel like Oregon and Washington are going to trade out very soon. I've been seeing some things about Oregon and Washington possibly both making the playoffs at the same time, but they would need Bama to lose. They would need Texas to lose. They would need Ohio State or Michigan to win out. They would need a lot of things to happen. But there is a possibility that it could happen. I see yourself thinking about it. Yeah, you need Bama to lose. You need Texas to lose. You need either Michigan or Ohio State to win out and the other one to lose as well. But with all these teams right here that I see, is just like they all have the quarterbacks. Their offenses are solidified now as some of the best in college football. Georgia, obviously being the number 1 team, I've been saying it all season. No matter what anybody says, nobody could change my mind that they are the best team in college football. Ohio State and Michigan, we'll find out this coming up weekend who the best is between those two. Washington and Oregon, we'll find out on like December 2nd. I think that's when championship weekend is. We'll figure that out. And then Bama. Bama needs a lot to happen, but if we go into Atlanta and beat Georgia, I think we have solidified a playoff spot, even if Texas does win out, but we will see.
Yes, sir. Yes, we will. Yes, indeed. All right, I hear you, brother. I hear where you're coming from. That's not bad. I guess you got some brains up there, when it comes to your team, putting Alabama at number 6. That's whatever.
Oh, so if LSU was in the same situation, you wouldn't put LSU up here?
LSU has 3 losses,
but if LSU was in the same situation, exactly. Don't lie to me. Don't you dare. I know you.
If, ands, and buts.
If, ands, and buts, but you know what? If you didn't lose to Ole Miss, if you didn't lose to Bama, if you didn't lose to Florida State, man, that's a lot of ifs right there.
All right, that's the end of the podcast.
I'm so sorry.
This guy right here. I'm not even.
Christ.
Not even. I asked for it. I went after Bama. All right. Let's get to our Heisman.
Oh my gosh,
CEO.
I'm so sorry.
You're fine. Let's go to our Heisman candidates here. I'll drop mine real quick here. Let's see. Am I in agreement with Vegas? Yes, I am. At number 1, Jaden Daniels still holds that spot very, 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 very narrowly. It is a very close race. How many more varies could I throw in there? I don't know. But, yeah, him and Bo Nix, 2-man race. Obviously, Penix, I'm going to hold him at 3 right now, even though you could maybe throw in a couple other guys. At the end of the day, it's between Bo and Jaden Daniels. This guy's just cooking right now. Oh, yeah.
Fire.
I have no changes in my Heisman right now. I'm not going to go on a tangent or nothing. Bo Nix, he has 1 extra game over Jaden Daniels, which could and probably will lead to him winning the Heisman, especially if they beat the Huskies in that game. CDM, what are we looking at in your Heisman Watch?
Go ahead and roll the clip, but we are going to switch the number 1 and number 2s. I have Bo Nix at number 1. Okay. I have Jaden Daniels at number 2, and we both have Michael Penix at number 3. Not really much to go into it. As you said, Bo Nix does have that extra game. So it could solidify his Heisman campaign if he wins it. And if he doesn't, then obviously it's either going to be Daniels or Michael Parsons, Michael Penix Jr. It really just depends on what happens. I mean, that extra game is what really could carry Bo Nix to being in New York and raising that trophy. I want to put Jaden Daniels up there. As I said, he is the best. I mean, I've realized obviously that he is the best player in college football, but so is Bo Nix. I mean, we've seen this. I mean, there's not similar talents, but they both respectively do like their respective game for both of them, how they play the game, how they go at the game, how they look at the game. It's crazy how they both do it. So, I mean, I could put either one up there. I just like Bo Nix and what he's doing right now. The way that he's been coming off that one loss has been insane. And then Michael Penix, I think we both clarified that he probably has peaked a little bit. So, I think that extra game against Oregon will help out as well as much as it will help out Bo Nix.
All right. I hear you there, brother. All right, let's get into our college football playoff prediction. I'll start us off right here, and you're going to see maybe a controversial team in there. At number 4, I've got the Texas Longhorns. Uh-oh. Horns down, horns up. We'll see as we approach these playoffs. I got 3 Washington, 2 Michigan, and number 1 Georgia. I'll give a quick little reasoning here, not much else to kind of go in depth. Obviously, chaos is a possibility in college football playoffs. I do believe Georgia handles their business in the ACC Championship in a very, very, very good game. Michigan handles their business this weekend. Maybe, maybe not. I obviously, if I'm in my playoff prediction, that shows what I am kind of overseeing and kind of foreshadowing in a way. But number 3, Washington handles their business, beats Oregon, stays undefeated. And then you get to number 4. What are you going to put here? You have multiple teams. Say Ohio State loses. They have 1 loss. So you're going to put a 1-loss Ohio State over a 1-loss Texas. Biggest win for Ohio State. Who was that going to be? Penn State? Notre Dame? Texas's biggest win. Alabama? Like, You know? So you got to go with that debate in your brain. If it comes down to those 2 teams with 1 loss, who are you going to put in? I believe they're going to put in the Texas Longhorns, especially if Michigan is going to be the team that beats Ohio State. Even though it's Michigan, they've only got 1 top 25 win on the season. That's not a good loss for Ohio State, especially if it's a bad one. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking in my college football playoff predictions. CDM, what you looking at?
Well, okay, so I've got the Georgia Bulldogs at 4. I've got Alabama at number 3, Washington at number 2, and Ohio State at number 1. And I know a lot of people are going to call me crazy. Oh, how do you have a 1-loss Georgia and a 1-loss Bama? Well, obviously, Bama beats them in the SEC Championship, and then the committee looks at themselves and like, okay, well, depending on what the score is in the SEC Championship, okay, depending on who wins the ACC. And if we're going off of strength of schedule, screw Texas. Texas' only good win is against us. They don't have any good wins anybody else. It was week 2. They beat us by 10 points. Congratulations, really good game. They do deserve it. But if we're going off strength of schedule, they don't have it. Georgia does have a good strength of schedule coming off beating an Ole Miss team, beating Missouri, beating Tennessee. Alabama, another good strength of schedule. Washington, not so good, but they went out and win the Pac-12. Ohio State, probably the best strength of schedule so far besides Alabama. You win against Notre Dame at Notre Dame, okay? You beat Penn State, and then you go back. Then you go to Ann Arbor, and you beat Michigan. So I think Ohio State ends up at number 1. At number 2, I think Washington wins the Pac-12. As much as I would love Bo Nix to do it, I think that Washington does get it done. At 3, Bama, and at 4 you have Georgia. Because you know why, Nate? You know why you have those 2 teams in?
Why?
Because the SEC makes college football great. The SEC makes college football exciting. And if you don't have at least one SEC team in the college football, yeah, everybody's going to watch it, but it's not going to be the same feeling. It's not going to bring the same excitement, the same energy. Having 2 in there makes it even better because then no matter what, it's going home to the SEC. No matter what, okay? No matter what, it's coming home to the SEC. A lot of people are going to say it's weird, but I think if you do have a 1-loss Georgia and their only loss is in the SEC championship game, you have no choice but to put them in. I mean, we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen once or twice. We've seen it happen with Georgia and Alabama. So, obviously, I think it can happen again. Will it? I don't know. We'll find out December 2nd in Atlanta. But that is my college football playoff predictions.
All right, I love it. And that'll do it for our top 6 teams Heisman Watch and college football playoff predictions once again, like we do every week, as well as this segment, our game picks. And this is a special games picks as we have a rivalry week. We're not going to stay on all these games for too long. We're kind of going to just quick little reason, get our score prediction out there so we can kind of talk about this last game for a little bit longer. So, CDM, let's get right into it. Let's look at this slate of games here. Week 13. Yeah, we're doing a lot of games this week. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games that we are picking today. Like I said, we're not going to stick too long on it. CDM, let's let you start out here in the Egg Bowl tomorrow night, Thanksgiving.
Tomorrow night.
What a game to have. All your food's digested. Kind of sitting back. You're already watching some NFL. Oh, you got a second TV? You got to put on the Egg Bowl. It might be a massacre, but it's the Egg Bowl. It's for Thanksgiving. CDM, what do you think happens in this year's Egg Bowl?
Ole Miss wins 35-7.
Just simple enough. No.
Simple enough.
No.
It's about all I could say. 35-7 Ole Miss.
35-7 Ole Miss. I think we see a little bit of a classic game at first, but the Rebels are just going to be too good and too strong and too fast and too talented. Give me the Rebels 27-18. That is a slight cover for Mississippi State, in my opinion. All right. Let's go to North Carolina at North Carolina State. I'll start us off on this one here. This is a very, very, very tough game to pick here as North Carolina State is now ranked at 22. But the Tar Heels are projected to win this game, 2.5-point favorites. What do I think happens? I think we see a North Carolina State win here, even though the stats do not say that's going to happen. Brendan Armstrong has 8 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, but he also leads the team in rushing yards. This team it's a team really you shouldn't probably bet on, but I'm going to do it because North Carolina fails me every single freaking time I bet on them. Give me North Carolina State. CDM, what you got?
Well, I hope me and you are the...
my score prediction, sorry, I did not. 24-23. Okay. 24-23.
Wow. Okay. So I hope me and North Carolina have a better connection than you two did, apparently. I'm taking North Carolina. I just don't see them getting it done I don't see NC State getting it done. I could be totally wrong. I could regret this pick coming up next week. But I have UNC winning 24-21.
Okay.
Not a blowout, but a nail biter for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
They love overtime.
Yes.
They really do.
Yes, they do.
They are a big fan of overtime.
Yeah.
But going into the next game, staying into the state of Texas, Texas Tech traveling to Texas Longhorns. Longhorns come in as 14-point favorites. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fight to the end. I'll start this one off. I love this game. I think Texas Tech can get it done for sure. But am I going to pick them? No, I'm going to go with the Texas Longhorns. I think they punch their way into a Big 12 championship game, depending on who they play, with a final score of 34-24, 10 points. I think Texas Tech keeps it close at first, but then Texas ultimately will run away with it at the end.
All right. Yeah, I remember when everyone was saying Texas Tech's got a team at the beginning of the season, even ranked in some people's top 25.
I mean, they almost beat Oregon.
They have had some good moments this year, and I like their roster, but it's not going to be enough. They need to get back game to kind of get back on track with where they were at the beginning of the year. This feels like a game they can do that in. Give me the Longhorns in this one, 31-16. All right, CDM, let's go out there to the Bayou as A&M travels out to there to face Jaden Daniels as he looks to add to his Heisman campaign. A&M is without Jimbo as well. CDM, how are we thinking this game goes?
LSU's going to dominate. Jaden Daniels is going to put up like another 500 total yards of offense, and the final score is going to be 55-21, the Bayou Bengals.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think it's going to just be An absolute just
I'll take that.
murder.
I'll take that. Jeez.
Hey man, I think it can happen. I don't think their defense. I mean, yes, their defensive line is good, but I don't think their defense in general can stop Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas.
There.
I don't think it's going to be able to stop them. So 55-21 LSU, and it's a home game. Y'all are not losing at home.
Fair. That is a very fair statement. I'll give you that one, CDM.
Yeah, y'all are not going to lose at home. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way
Yeah.
in hell y'all are going to let a Jimbo Fisher-less team come into your house and beat you. First off, if y'all do let that happen, Nate, you might as well just hang up the cleats, like hang up the jersey for the rest of the year because it's not it.
No, don't even play the bowl game. I feel you. Nah,
Yeah, don't even play the bowl game.
LSU's going to win this game. It's by how much, in my opinion. And we might see some interesting things happen on just because LSU's defense is absolutely horrible. But they'll bow up. They'll bow up, figure something out, make some stops late. Give me the Bayou Bengals, 45-26. Still a beatdown. Just
45-26. So you had 10 points less than me, and you're freaking out. I said 55, and you said 45-26. I said 55-21, and you said, "Oh my God, that's still a killing, Nathan."
55 points is a lot of points, man. That's a lot.
45 points is a lot of points.
You're right. It is. But I'm only 19, right? 19 points. You're at what? At 20, 34? 34
I'm at
points?
55-21. So that's
50,
yeah, that's 34. It's 34 points.
What am I at? That's
You said 45-28. That's
That's 19.
17 points.
It's 19, right?
Oh yeah, 19. Sorry, numbers. Yeah, that's 19.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm terrible at math too. All right. Let's keep this thing rolling. Let's not show our math skills off to the world. All right. This is actually kind of an interesting game as Louisville looks to, keep their playoff hopes alive as they face off against the Wildcats. They do host the Wildcats at home, 7.5-point favorites. CDM, does the plumber get it done once again?
I think they do. It's going to be a close one, though. I think it's a closer game than people are expecting. What's the spread? The spread is 7.5. I think it's a lot closer. I think it ends up being a 3-point game, but Louisville comes out on top. I think the plumber can get it done. I don't think did you see what Bama did to that team?
Yeah.
I know it's Bama. I know it's the SEC, but I think Plummer and this offense are just going to dominate this team. Plus, Leary hasn't looked as good as he was back in the ACC when he played against this team a lot. I think Louisville gets it done, but in a close one, 31-28, Louisville.
Yeah, point differential we completely agree on. And, yeah, Kentucky's going to play their butts off. This is going to be their Super Bowl, kind of try and right some wrongs that they've had this season. And very disappointing season for them. One of those teams we could have possibly even thrown in that conversation. But, yeah, Louisville's offense will find a way late and get enough points to beat this team. Give me the Cardinals, 27-24. All right, CDM. The Florida Bowl, FSU Seminoles, are only 6.5-point favorites, obviously, after everything that happened with them last week with Jordan Travis against those Gators. I'll start us off in this one here. It is in the swamp. Makes it a little bit more interesting.
It's a tough place to play, man.
It's
a tough place to play.
Very tough place to play. An SEC ball. Florida's not going to back down in this one. This is, once again, feels like another Super Bowl type of game for Florida. And, answer, the crows. There's like crows going on over there. Jesus. Can Billy Napier, get this team on the right track? And they've had some moments. Graham Mertz has looked pretty dang good, honestly. Realistically, has honestly played really good this season. He's got one of the highest completion percentages in the league. Obviously, that's pretty easy when you're throwing it under 5 yards every single play. But
call my man out like that today.
I mean, it's kind of realistic. But Florida, they're gonna play their butts off. But I got a weird feeling that FSU pulls this one off late. Give me the Seminoles in an absolute classic game here, 23-20.
I agree with you on that. Since the spread has changed, I think people are going to come into this game a little skeptical, thinking like, "Oh man, Florida's actually going to have a chance. Florida can get the job done. Florida had opportunity before Jordan Travis got hurt. Every team has an opportunity to beat every team. Like every team has an opportunity to go beat Georgia. Every team has a possibility to go beat Ohio State or Michigan or Washington or Oregon or Bama. This team has an opportunity now to really beat this team in an impressive fashion. Yes, as I said before, they had a chance way before. They still have a chance now. It's going to be weird. It's going to be different. It's going to be a different style of Florida State offense that we are used to seeing. I'm pretty sure we're going to see less running from the quarterback, more handoffs, more dump-off passes, more shots downfield or over the middle probably. But I'm going to take Florida State. It took me a lot because I almost went Florida. Almost went Florida on this one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Florida State with a score of 35 to 28. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a nail-biter. I think Florida State lets them stay in there for a little bit, but Florida State ultimately comes out on top.
I agree completely. Let's go to the Washington Bowl now. Washington State early on in the season had some pretty good chances in that conference, and then they just completely fall off the face of the earth. Cam Ward.
Yeah, dude. He kind of like just disappeared.
Disappears. Absolutely has not played good ball at all. 68.5. They think points are going to go on the board. 16.5-point favorites as well for those Huskies. Simple enough. I'll start us off here. The Washington Huskies get their big-time win they've been looking for the past couple weeks. Nice victory. Kind of show off the offense. Defense makes enough plays to kind of control the game. Give me the Washington Huskies in this one. 40-17.
Good Lord, dude. Washington State at one point was 4-0, and my God, have they just gone on the biggest losing streak of their lives?
Yep.
Like after they beat Oregon State, okay, and then they lose to UCLA. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Then they lose to UCLA. They get dominated by Arizona. They get clapped by Oregon. They lose. Oh God, they lost to Arizona State. That's sad. They lost to Stanford. Ew. And then they lose to Cal by 3.
Gosh.
And then they beat Colorado 50. Yeah, they beat the brakes off Colorado. Oh my Lord, 56-14.
Yeah, they couldn't stop nothing. Bro.
And then I remember Cam Ward. We were so both high on Cam Ward being the guy that we think can like lead Washington State to a Pac-12 title. Taking Washington, I think Washington is just the dominant team right now, the most favored team in the Pac-12 besides Oregon. No other Pac-12 team is beating Oregon or Washington.
Completely.
No other Pac-12 team is going to do it unless this weekend proves me wrong. But I just don't think no other team is doing it. I think Washington wins 45-35. I had it close. I changed my score up. I had it 45-42, but I thought that was just a little too close. So 45-35, I think, is a more realistic score to happen. Washington just needs to shut them down on the defensive side of the ball, which I think can happen.
All right. Hey, hear you.
Let me start this one off. Okay, then we go down. To Jordan-Hare Stadium, where the Alabama Crimson Tide will take on the Auburn Tigers. Bama comes in as 14-point favorites. And guess what? Alabama wins. As they should.
Wow.
Swear to God, if we don't win this game, it's a waste of the season. I think Bama's the dominant team. Everybody knows this right now. They're coming off a big win against Chattanooga. Auburn coming off the most disappointing loss I think I've ever seen Auburn take in my years of living. I've lived for 23 years and I've watched football for like 18 of it. Still, I've never seen a terrible loss like that before. I'm taking Alabama 35-10. I think we get the job done. I think Jalen Milroe puts up 100 yards rushing, 200 yards passing, four total touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And the defense just shuts down. I think defense just goes off. But yeah, that's all I just want to start off. There's really not much need to say about this game, Nate. I'll be completely honest with you. It's going to be a skull dragging. It's going to be tiger pelts in the Great Hall of Alabama, where we lay our nice LSU tiger rug, and then we're going to lay our Auburn tiger rug.
This guy, he thinks comedian. Ha ha.
Dude thinks he's Matt Rife over here.
This guy over here. Nah, man. I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, if you really think Auburn's winning this game, you're absolutely insane. You probably should be checked into a mental hospital.
If you're a diehard Auburn fan, I'll applaud you, but
hey,
I'm gonna look at you like you're stupid.
Respect to the fandom and love for your
The
team.
stupidity.
But there's a lot of it's ignorance at its finest. This is a done deal before it ever happened. It is a rivalry game, so I don't want to act like it's impossible, but Auburn's just not a good team this year. They don't have a quarterback.
Just not, dude.
It's just not there yet. Give Freeze a couple more seasons to find some players because this team is just not built to, that guy before him was bad. That Boise State head coach, how does he get the job? I don't know. Auburn. Give him a chance. This is not the season. Alabama wins this one. I think it's a little fun early on. Maybe Alabama makes a mistake early on coming. Auburn got a chance. And then now Alabama will figure it out. Late second quarter, take off from there.
No, it's just you go and look at their schedule. So dub against Massachusetts. That's good. Dub against Cal. Dub against Samford. Okay, 3 bombs. Okay. Then they lose to Texas A&M 20-17. They lose to Georgia by 7. They get dominated by LSU. They barely lose to Ole Miss. They beat Mississippi State. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat Arkansas. Then you find the New Mexico State game. And then you just as an Auburn fan, I would just want to just end it all. Probably just 86 myself, you know what I'm saying? But going on to the next game.
I didn't even get my score in, dude. Jeez. Hey, slow down. 34-16. 34-16. All right. We're good now.
That's graceful. I'll give you that.
Yeah, give him a chance.
It's graceful. I mean, you got to at this point. I mean, at this point in time. But moving on to the next game, we go to the great state of Oregon for Oregon State versus Oregon at Oregon in Eugene. Very big game. Oregon's coming in at 13.5-point favorites. DJ and his little brother have to play against each other.
That's right.
And Dan Lanning told DJ's little brother, in the most kindest of ways, please go hit your brother.
Yes.
Just hit him.
Hard.
Just dominate him. Yep. So I think Oregon's going to win this game. I think it's going to be a good game at first. I think it's going to be some clips of what they did against Washington, but ultimately Oregon, with the high-powered offense and the way Bo Nix is playing, will come out on top. And I think the final score will be 41-28 Oregon. Oregon Ducks, not the Beavers. Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, man. I think Oregon State's going to take a lot away from that Washington game and understand there is a way to beat teams like this, and it is to slow the game down. And I think they're going to try to do that and probably be successful early on. I think we might see a flip-flop of what we saw in the last game with Washington, where maybe they slow the game down really a lot in that first half, maybe even have a lead going into the half, but Oregon will figure it out on offense. I just don't think anyone can really shut down this offense for an entire game. This offense is so freaking good. So, good game early on. Oregon shows their grit, their moxie, their experience, and the Ducks pull it off 30-20. All right, CDM. That leads us.
The game of the night.
Hey.
The game of the possibly game of the year. I know I've said this about a lot of teams.
It's not even at night. That's so stupid, bro. 11
a.m. 11?
kickoff.
Oh, God, man. Why they got to make it Dude, why is this not a night game? Why is this not, primetime college football? I have to go to work during that shit. Jeez. You know how pissed off I'm going to be at Sully's walking back and forth? First off, I'm going to be getting there first so I can get them TV remotes. Put the games on already so I know what to have on. I know what I want. And ain't nobody going to tell me, oh, can we turn on the Southern Miss game? No, we can't. No, we cannot.
We don't get that channel.
Can we don't get that channel. What channel is it on? We don't get that channel.
We don't get that channel.
Can we turn on the Mississippi State? No, we can't. They already played.
It's already played.
Can we turn on? No, we're not watching anything else. We're watching Michigan and Ohio State because some freaking reason they put it on at 11 o'clock when this game should be a night game. It makes me mad, pisses me off. College football committee, get your shit together and put this game at 6 o'clock at night where everybody can enjoy. Because I have to go wake up in the morning and go to work and walk back and forth and miss almost the entire game. Best believe I'm going to be in this office. I'm going to be in the office at Sully's watching this game. I'm going to be like, screw my tables. Screw everything. I want to watch this game. But, I mean, it's game of the year now.
Game of the year.
This game decides college football. One of the games. This is one of the games that decides the college football playoffs and who's going to make it and who's not going to make it, honestly.
Yep. It's insane, bro. It's insane. This game has so much on the line. This is college football personified, brother. This is why we watch the sport, for these games specifically. You watch them, the LSU Alabamas when both teams are in it. The Alabama Auburns when they're both in it. Oregon Washington. We get these games on rare occurrence, and there's a lot of great rivalries, but at the end of the day, this is the greatest in college football historically. This one has it's like nearly 50-50.
Yeah.
It is
right.
so competitive, so good. And recently, Michigan's got theirs. 8 years prior to that, for 8 straight seasons, Ohio State was running it. But, historically.
More running it, more like dominating
it. But
making Michigan their little brother.
Yeah, historically, it has been an insanely competitive, rivalry, greatest in college football. And now, your boys, Dogg and CDM, get to pick this game with all their expertise and knowledge on college football. CDM, you want me to start or you want to start?
Man, I'll go ahead and start because I feel like I know who you're going to go with.
Yeah, I think.
And I'm just going to go against you. And I'm taking the man, the myth, the legend. I'm taking Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes to go into Ann Arbor and revenge the 2 seasons of losing to Michigan. Now that we find out how they lost to them, now that we found out the reasons behind such 2 years of great success, we finally get to see where it doesn't matter anymore. Jim Harbaugh is not on the sidelines. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, cheating doesn't matter. It matters to the people that care about the sport the most, the people who have the fire, the people that have the passion, people who just love college football, and to see cheaters almost prosper cannot be allowed. So Ohio State's going to be the hero. It's what's the song? I can be your hero, baby. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Ohio State's going to go out there. Kyle McCord is going to have the game of his career, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to tear up that defense. It's going to carve the secondary up like it's carving turkey on Thanksgiving Day. I'm talking about Kyle McCord, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trayvon Henderson. All of them are going to have their day. And I have the Ohio State Buckeyes winning 45-31 in Ann Arbor. Sign it, date it, check it, send it. It's happening. I'll see you Saturday. Good night. Not really good night, but, Go ahead. Go ahead. Take them.
A lot of confidence in that pick.
Hey, man. You got to have confidence when you have to pick the best. So, when I pick the best, I'm never wrong.
Yeah.
As you can tell from my game pick record.
Yeah, I probably should defer to you, but screw that. Give me the Wolverines. We're doing it. Sharon Moore is doing it. J.J. McCarthy is going to throw 12 passes, and they're going to win. Run the ball. Blake Corum. Give me
That's the only good thing on that team, besides the offensive line. It's the only good thing on that offense. It's the only good thing.
Wolverines are doing this, brother.
It's the only good thing on the offense is the offensive line and Blake Corum.
This guy.
J.J. McCarthy, mid. You know what Ohio State has? You literally have Marvin Harrison Jr., okay? You literally have Marvin Harrison Jr.
Tell me you don't know
Trayvon
ball
Henderson.
without telling
You have Trayvon
me you
Henderson.
don't know ball.
You have Trayvon Henderson. You have Trayvon Henderson. And then you have Kyle McCord, who, in my opinion, is better than J.J. McCarthy, because J.J. McCarthy's mid, dude. He's trash. Can't hit a deep ball. At least Kyle McCord may underthrow him, but at least he has Marvin Harrison Jr. to go up there for it.
Yeah.
I think that Ohio State's offense is 10 times better than Michigan's offense. I think running the ball, Michigan ultimately has the game won. But if you're going off run, explosiveness, passing, wide receiver depth, wide receiver elusiveness, we're going Ohio State. And that's no deal. And then you get to the defensive side of the ball. where Ohio State's defense has been battle tested and ready for this game, ready to come back for some revenge. Who's our Michigan? What's Michigan's defense played like? Michigan's defense played what? Crappy Penn State offense, no offense. A decent Maryland team that put up the most points they've allowed all season. I mean, I know we've talked about Washington peaking, but has Michigan peaked yet? Has Michigan hit the peak, hit the pinnacle of where they're supposed to be? I think they have. I don't think Michigan is even ready for the playoffs because you know why? Because they're going to drop out. They're not going to win. Ohio State, you're not going to put a one-loss Michigan team in over a one-loss Georgia or a one-loss Bama or a one-loss Washington, or maybe, yeah, you probably put them over a one-loss Washington. But it doesn't matter because they're not going to make the Big Ten championship. They're going to have to sit at home while Jim Harbaugh cries himself to sleep while he's debating on whether he's going to get fired or not. And then J.J. McCarthy's going to be like at home crying, with his black eye paint scrolling down because he's just not that good. Kyle McCord, Marvin Harrison Jr., take us to the promised lands.
You're done. Well, finally, I get to talk. Carson's long-winded rant about this delusional, Ohio State, fandom.
Delusional.
Yeah.
I know you live.
It's true. Listen, love your passion. I understand where you're coming from, but you're an idiot. Michigan is winning it all. Not the championship. They're beating the Ohio State Buckeyes. This is over. Done
You're
deal.
smoking crack.
This is done deal. Sharon Moore is about to pull off the unexpected, even though they're favored, which is crazy that they're favored in this game. I don't know how that works out.
Who's favored in this game?
Michigan, 3-point favorites.
Son of a.
First time that's ever happened in a long time.
Not even last year?
Nope.
Not even the year before.
It's been a long time since they've been favored.
Son of a. Actually, that pays on. Actually, no. That plays into Ohio State's favor.
It does.
Of adversity in their face.
It does.
That's what's going to happen. They have adversity on. They have a chip on their shoulder. Oh, they're favored by 3. Let's go beat them by 10. Oh, they're favored by 3. Let's go put up 45 points and dominate the entire game.
That's hilarious. This guy gets crazier as the minutes pass. Michigan is winning this game.
Ohio State's winning the game.
Give me the Wolverines. 26-24, game-winning field goal, game over.
I hope they bobble the snap like they did against Michigan State and they run it back.
Oh, yeah?
If that happened,
I don't have any emotional connection to Michigan, but
I do. Ohio State beat us one time in the playoffs.
Yeah, why are you rooting for this team?
Because I don't support cheaters, Nathan, unlike you.
You have no proof.
You're a crackhead. You smoke crack. You smoke methamphetamines.
They call me Walter White.
Oh my God. Oh my Lord. That's okay. We'll find out this Saturday at 11 o'clock in Ann Arbor. But I think that'll cover College Kings episode 12.
Give me the Wolverines.
You just had to ruin it. You just had to add the input in there. Go give me the Buckeyes. Okay.
Yes.
Are we done?
That'll do our podcast. Yes, it will.
Okay. There you go. Man.
Oh, another good one.
So sad.
Yeah,
it's so sad.
All right. You can follow us on our social medias right there. On our social right there. It shows you right there. YouTube, you got to see it to believe it. But yeah. Follow us at Nate Dogg Sports. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what to do. TikTok is on the horizon. The app has been downloaded. So,
you finally did it?
Yeah, Nolan finally got me to do it. So
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, it's a stepping stone in Nathan's life, Nate Dogg's life, and it's about time. So expect a TikTok on the horizon. We do want to apologize for all the technical difficulties. We promise that will be fixed for next week as well. The Zoom was the culprit. We figured that out. So
yeah, Zoom just sucks.
Zoom sucks. So we figured out what it was, and we're gonna have a stern talking to with the Zoom in this after this podcast. But Thank y'all for all who watched and listened to College Kings episode 13. CDM, what is your favorite rivalry in all of sports? Is it Auburn, Alabama? Is it Michigan, Ohio State?
All of sports?
All of
in all of
sports.
sports, dude. There's so much, dude. Oh, my goodness. In all of sports. American sports, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Things
I'm
we
just
know.
making sure. And just making sure, what's going on, could have picked could have picked the World Cup qualifier round.
Could have picked war. That's
Could have picked what?
nothing.
Say war? My best. It's the best one. I don't know. The best rivalry to me in sports. I could be a homer and say the Iron Bowl. But I mean, oh man, there's so many good ones. Boston Yankees.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah,
Boston Yankees.
I'm thinking Boston Lakers. That's what I'm thinking.
I think Nolan would support either one of those.
Yeah, Nolan.
Nolan being the Boston fan that he is, I think that he would support those.
Yeah. There's some NFL ones you could throw in there. Obviously, Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama. So there's no disrespect being thrown around, but too many.
Cowboys, Eagles.
Cowboys, Giants.
That's not a rivalry anymore. That's just
that's fair.
That's just beating up. That's the big brother beating up the little brother.
Just beatdowns. Just the beatdowns.
Just murder. Well, I think that'll do us, guys. Y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's just getting closer to the end, man. So sad. But we will catch y'all next time on College Kings.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Deuces.